Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you Thursday, April the 22nd. The year's 2021. Let's talk trading. Taking a win versus winning, part 2. This one with Walmal. And one thing you should be aware of is that these videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. Walmal, a few days ago, I was talking about the difference between taking a win versus winning, because we had talked about taking a loss versus losing. So the boys and girls and non-binary traders would like to hear from you on this subject.
Well, we all like to win, quite simply, But the thing is, we need to go and make sure that we're going to win the war and not just the battle, and that's what it comes down to, And for me, in terms of my trading, I promised to put a chart up there the other day, and I just forgot about it. And actually, TRO went and called me out on it. But I'll go and put the chart out for today, where I took Walmal trades and why I did what I did. But essentially, I wound up getting out of a bunch of trades on Walmal trades with only 1 pip. I think one of them actually I lost 2 or 3 pips. But eventually, I won the war for the day. But but sometimes you have to go and look at that. You have to go and set strategy up so that you can win the war. And sometimes, you take losses, or you only, and if I hold on, if I would have held on, say, no, this thing's going to go, and it's going to go, and I'm just going to hold on. And next thing you know, I would have, I potentially could have gotten, killed, and then, of course, the other part of it is, some people say, well, if you don't hold on, what's going to happen is you can only take small wins. Then you can't go and compensate for your big losses. Well, my answer to that is don't take big losses then. And so and the funny thing about that is the only thing we can control as traders is our loss. We can't control what we win, but we can control what we lose. So I know I'm kind of turning it back the other way again, but at the same time, the two of them go hand in hand. So, if I'm going to go in and take a trade and, it's just not doing what I wanted to do, I'll just go and take the 1 pip win or maybe a 2 or 3 pip loss. And, I'm going to call that a win, because I'm trading my plan. And that's the thing. What I consider to be a win is not necessarily how many pips I put in the bank. For me, what a win is, did I follow my plan? Did I do what my plan says to go and do?
That's the tough one, because of hindsight being 2020, and you could see, oh man, I could have had X number of pips.
Exactly. And in fact, you heard me this morning. I was like, I went and took a trade, and it was not a true Walmal trade, but it was what I'd call a modified Walmal trade. And I took that trade, and I even called out exactly where it was going to go, and then was going to run into problems. Did I not?
Yeah, you did.
But what I did was I went and followed the plan, and I did what I said I was going to do based on what my plan was, and I got my win. But the thing then, I was mad because I could have had 20-something pips. Instead, I got out with 7 or 8 pips, something like that. And it's like, well, that's just part of trading, I guess. You just have to live with it. But that's a win. In any way you look at it, that's a win. Because I did what my trading plan said to do. I followed the rules. I did everything I was supposed to do, and at the end of the day, that's a win.
Yeah. And one of the things I notice sometimes in myself, let's say I'm up maybe 3.5 pips, and then in the blink of an eye, in one tick, I'm only up 2.5. Well, I want my pip back. Well, then, next thing I know, I'm only up 2 pips, and I wound up scratching out, and then, of course, we know what happens. Price bounces right back up.
Right. And in my early days of trading, when I would go back and look at, why I was taking losses, and I did this exactly what you're saying, but I did it even worse than that in the very beginning, and that was, okay, I'm up 3, I'm up 5, oh boy, this is great, and then next, in 1 second, I'm now only up 3, or I'm only up 2, and I held on. Because I know it's going back to that 5. I know it's going up to that 10, And I just know it because, you know what, I can control the market. I'm a market god of some sort, But no. And the next thing you know, I'm taking a loss. I'm taking a loss of not even because you get so stubborn, you want to taking a loss of not just 1 pip or 3 pips or 5 pips or 7 pips. You may even take a loss of 10 pips. You let it hit you full stop. And it's like, dude, what? You look at it. Let's say you were going and trading, to make numbers easy. Let's say you were trading, 10 lots just to make numbers easy. Think about this. At one point in time, you were up $500, okay, and now you're taking a loss, of $700 or $1,000. It's like, oh my goodness. And I can't tell you how many times I went and did that. I did that, more times than I care to remember, and that's where I got into this idea. I'm just not going to go and take losses. I'll take losses. Yeah, everybody takes losses. But what I mean by that is I'm going to minimize my losses, and that's what I'm going to do. If I minimize my losses, and I know that my wins are coming based on the methodology, I'll be okay. And because I'm preserving capital.
Exactly.
And that one trade, it was a great trade that I took that I referred to earlier. It was a great trade. If I start saying, well, oh my goodness, look at that. If I would have held on, I would have gotten 12 more pips. I can't look at it that way, because if I look at it that way, I'm going to be setting myself up for a loss. I'm going to be setting myself up for defeat. No, I got what the market, gave me, and I think I even said to you, well, by taking that trade, I just made core for the day. I continued trading after that, so I'll be transparent about that. But the reality is, I didn't need to. I could have easily just, as they say, hung up the skates and went back home.
Exactly.
But this whole idea of winning, and there's another part of that maybe you discussed it in your video, I'm not sure, but from my perspective is that, sometimes we get so nervous. Okay, oh, look at that, I got $10, I got $20, I'm out, and it's like, the reality is, if you know that it's going to range, you need to go and let it sit there and also allow it to range. You can't, you can't go and, expect to get, I don't want to say wealthy, but be able to survive in this environment if you don't allow to have some risk. Because let's face it, there is risk in doing this. So our job is to minimize the risk, but at the same time, we do have to be willing to take on the risk. And so there's that fine edge. So it almost sounds like I'm, going and contradicting myself, but no, it's not. And that's a part of the art of doing all this, knowing that, hey, this is a smart risk that I'm willing to take, or you know what? The trade is just not developing the way I expected it to go. It's time to just cut the losses and just get out now and wait for the next opportunity and take the next opportunity. And, hopefully that'll just be a better time. And I believe I did that with you this morning too, where I went long. Actually, I went short. Okay, it didn't develop, and I took like a 2 or 3 pip loss. I said, you know what, this is just not what I'm doing. And then I actually got a signal to go long, and I took the long signal, and I made like 2 pips. I didn't cover the loss completely, but I got like 2 pips or something like that. And almost covered it, but didn't quite cover it. But then I got the short again, almost at the exact same spot, and I took the trade again. And this time I went and picked up like 5 pips or something like that. That's sometimes what happens with trading. And I'm not saying this because, from one perspective, you need to be careful with that too, is because that can also lead to over trading, which is an entirely different subject, obviously. But it was the type of thing where the market hadn't decided where it was going to go, and I was just going to go until the market decided. I was going to play both sides until I figure out what the bias of the market was, and then finally the market dumped, and that's when I got a hold of that dump, and I made a bunch of pips on that dump.
Yeah, and part of taking a win versus winning is, it's like you said, you had hit your core, but you kept going, when in reality, the smart thing to do, especially for the new trader, is you hit your core, your goal, you stop for the day. You come back tomorrow. Some people say, well, strike while the iron's hot. The problem is that, we've got some psychology involved here. And if you hit your goal, and then all of a sudden the next trade you go down, and you wind up taking a loss. Now you're under goal, then you have to keep trading, and then sometimes losses snowball, and the next thing you know, you just turned a good day,
right.
a winning day, into a losing day.
Yeah, and then here's the thing about statistics, okay? And I know you know this, TRO, but, and I know much of the audience out there knows this as well, but we need to go and emphasize it, I think. You can have a method that wins 80% of the time, and you can also take 9 losses in a row. That's the reality of statistics, because, there's no guarantee, and you could literally go and take 9 losses in a row. And you could take those 9 losses in a row because that's just what the market did, or it could be you took 9 losses in a row because you fumbled the ball a bunch of times, one after the other. But that's the reality of trading. So you need to be very careful about that, especially in the beginning when you're trying to go and build up an account, and that's just something you got to keep your eye on it. Now, one of the things I did early on was once I had established myself and had made account, made my goal or whatever, what I would do is, because I wanted to seed time, because I'll stress this again, seed time, you can't go and deny that seed time isn't worth it, okay? Because that's how you learn how the market moves. That's how you develop your instinctive patterns in your mind of how things are working or whatever. Is the market doing what the market usually does, or is this something that's unusual for the market? Not something that's never been done before, but just something that's unusual. Well, that's the only way to do that, is sit in front of the charts. So what I would do is I would actually just, at that point in time, I've made my money for the day. Now I'm just going to go and paper trade it. That's an old term. So I demo trade it. Let's call it that way. Or if you're going to trade it, let's say you were trading, you're at the point where you're trading one lot, per you're trading, you're putting on one lot in a trade. Well, maybe go and knock it down to a dime or knock it down to a penny so it doesn't affect your account. Okay. And just do that. And just so you can get some seat time and practice winning, and you can get that and get that experience that's necessary.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes you need to lighten the load, take that negative pressure off.
Yeah, you're taking the pressure off, and then the other thing too is that you don't want to take a good day and turn it into a nasty day. Who wants that? Because what that's going to do is, one, you wind up with a day that's potentially went from you made goal all the way down to you ended the day with negative numbers. Okay, that's the first part, and then the second part is that you can get frustrated, because it's just not working out, and then by sitting there, you're practicing you're practicing your art. You're practicing, what you're doing. And so by doing that, you're giving yourself the opportunity to go out there and learn what you're not doing well and what you are doing well. You're also getting the opportunity saying, you know what, I'm trading the Walmal method. Hey, look, we're coming to the 50 line. Should I take a long here? And you look at the chart and it's like, well, the Walmal method says take a long here. Well, maybe there's other things that are out there that would say maybe not, and that's the only way that you can go and develop that that understanding is just by sitting there in front of the charts, watching price move back and forth.
Exactly. And the fastest 15 minutes in trading is about up. I was trying to think if there was a question out there that somebody was asking. Oh yeah, they wanted to know where to get the indicators, and I post the indicators at Kreslik.com. And if you look at the comments in the videos, I do believe I have a link to Kreslik out there. And let me think, was there another question? Oh yeah, somebody they had sent an email, and I sent them the TRO build 1300 file, and they said it was empty. I said, no, it's not empty. It's filled with indicators. I'm not sure what they were doing, but hopefully they figured it out by now. So, fellow traders, just remember, you can take a win, or you can be winning, but it's not what you trade. It's how you trade it. So, go out there and drain the banks. This is TheRumpledOne, over and out.